This is Rebecca Belch, and you're listening to the Radical Radiance Podcast.
Friends, welcome to the Radical Radiance Podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca George, and I am so thrilled to be with you today and welcome my friend Rebecca Belch to the show. We're going to have a great conversation. Rebecca is a wife and mom of 3 growing kids. She has been a registered nurse for 19 years. Her passion to help people be healthy has led her to become a functional medicine practitioner. She serves clients nationwide, virtually, and also in person in the Austin, Texas area. Her goal is to help you achieve long-lasting natural health. And you may remember Rebecca from some ads that we've ran, or maybe if you subscribe to my newsletter, you've certainly heard about her business, Live Oak Integrative Health. And we talked and thought it would be a great idea to just have a full conversation so you could hear more of her heart and more of what she does. And this is going to be a really, really rich conversation about women's health. So I know that this will apply to most people who clicked play on this episode. And so I'm so excited to welcome her and get to learn from her today. So Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, this is going to be so fun. I'm excited to get to know you. We have known each other from afar for several months, but it's really fun to get to chat sort of in person, you know?
Yes, definitely. I agree.
I love it. Well, I would love for you to start by sharing with everybody a little bit of your journey and what led you down this path of starting Live Oak Integrative Health.
Yeah, it was definitely a journey. Working in the medical field for, 21 years now.
Yeah.
I really started to see kind of a disconnect between when people would say they felt bad and then the doctor saying everything looks fine, you look great, no big deal. So really started to see kind of that disconnect. And personally, I ran into the same thing. So really that's kind of what started me heading down this journey. We ended up having 3 miscarriages after our 3rd child. Wow. And I thought, what is going on? And they said, oh, we don't know, everything looks healthy and fine. Fast forward 10 years, I started to realize like my vitamin D level was like 11. And so all these nutrient levels that they had never checked, which are so critical for forming babies, were non-existent. So kind of that track kind of helped lead us to open up Live Oak, which has just been such a blessing in so many ways.
Yeah.
So
the work that you're doing is so important. And I have had similar experiences, unfortunately, with doctors over the years.
Yeah.
And it can be so frustrating when you feel like you're trying to do all the right things and you're trying to like show up and go to the doctor and do the blood work. Like you're doing the right things, but you're not getting the right answers to take steps forward in your health. And so I would be curious with the women that you work with, what are some of the most common issues that you're seeing in women right now? And what do you think is driving them?
Yeah, the biggest issues that I come across are fatigue, weight resistance. People just like, I do everything. Why can't I lose weight? And, like hormonal issues.
Yeah.
So like perimenopause, menopause types things. But a lot of it is just tired, fatigued, and they just don't know where to turn.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think leads to some of that? Maybe like the most common thing.
Yeah. In our society, a lot of women are just chronically stressed.
Yeah.
So they have so many things on their plate, but really what it boils down to is how they were raised, like the nutrition that they were given when they were young and stable home environments. And if they know what to do with stress and, all of that compiles. So years down the road, women in their 40s, it finally starts to appear and show up in their life and they don't feel well and they have all this extra weight and they don't know what to do with it. And they're trying all these things to feel better and they're putting the work into it and they get so discouraged because they're like, we don't know what to do. So, it really starts from the foundation. A lot of it has to do with gut health, just eating horrible things, like their whole life. So really trying to get to that root of individually what's going on for that person is really what I do, because everybody's so different, so it can have the same appearance on the outside, but internally the root causes can be different.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. What you're saying is making me think of a book. I've not read the entire book, but like the sentiment I think is so true of what you're saying is that book, The Body Keeps the Score.
Yeah.
Have you read that?
I have not read it either, but I definitely have like heard excerpts of it and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And that phrasing has really been helpful to me too over the years of like, our body doesn't forget the nutrition we gave it or the way that we've processed stress or trauma or whatever, whatever. And those things do really add up, like positively or negatively, right? And so I wonder for the woman listening and she's thinking, yeah, Rebecca, that's me. I'm stressed in this season of life. My lifestyle is really fast and furious. What encouragement would you give to her if she's the woman who feels like she's doing all the right things, but she can't help that her life is busy?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what, to be honest, it's got to be these little foundational things make such a big difference. So sleep, sleep is really critical. And that's when our body does a lot of the healing. That's when the adrenal glands get to heal and our body detoxes and things get cleared out and stuff. So when women are like, I sleep 4 or 5 hours a night, I'm like, you've got to get back to the basics. So sleep is so critical. Eating 3 meals a day. Don't starve yourself just because you want to lose weight. Like that's actually creating so much more stress for your body. So, I think when women can have that freedom to like, I need to sleep, like sleep is so much more important than trying to get that next thing done on the list. Or I need to make sure I get up in the morning and eat a good meal. Like those foundational things really pay off in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
what are your thoughts on, I'm thinking of the 3 meals a day thing. This might be a controversial question because it's just such a trend in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But intermittent fasting. Can we talk about that and what it does to your hormones?
Yes, definitely. So, it depends on the person, whether or not intermittent fasting is good for you. It depends on how you're regulating cortisol. It depends on your adrenal glands and if you're in adrenal fatigue so if your body is not regulating cortisol well, and then you start throwing in intermittent fasting, you're actually creating so much more stress for your body that the body goes into like survival mode and you just start holding on to weight because it's like, you're starving me. I don't know when my next meal's coming. It's already stressed. So a lot of times it backfires and then you can get into like really severe adrenal fatigue, like long term. So can be helpful for some situations, but I think you really need to do testing to see kind of where your overall health markers are at and if that's a good thing for you. So it's hard that like all these fads come out and women are like, great, let's do it. I can do this. I can try harder. But a lot of times it's more like, no, we need to like calm your whole system down. You need to figure out how to regulate stress and get sleep and drink water and like all these little things really make a big difference. So I don't want to say across the board it's bad for you. Men especially see a lot of great success with intermittent fasting actually, but for women our hormones are so sensitive that it can really mess up like progesterone, estrogen balances and stuff if you just go full bore. So I don't know. It's a tricky one.
That's kind of where I stand on it too. It's been amazing for my husband. He's done it in and out of different seasons of our life together. And I mean, he'll start intermittent fasting and he'll be down 20 pounds in like 3 weeks,
Yeah, no, that's the same with my husband. I mean, it works great,
which is incredible,
and it makes sense. So.
Yeah, and I feel like it does nothing but just raise my cortisol every time I've tried it. And so it's just never worked for me. So, and I feel like that's the case for a lot of women. I feel like there's so many things that we try that feel successful for other people, and so that's where like so much of the discouragement can come from, for sure.
Yeah, because it's not a lack of trying. for
Right.
these women. Like, they want to do what's right and healthy. But for me, I realized that you have to get testing done because, I mean, our bodies are so different
Yeah.
that we don't know where everybody's at different stages. So without that actual testing and figuring out how everything's functioning,
Yeah.
then you can't just throw this plan at everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Well, on that, I would love to talk a little bit about kind of your approach with new clients. So, what does it look like to get to kind of that root cause of an issue rather than just like throwing spaghetti at the wall and a bunch of symptoms, right? Like, walk us
Yeah.
through kind of how you do that with your clients.
Yeah. So, with functional medicine, we use functional tests, which look at stool samples, urine samples, sputum samples, along with comprehensive blood work. So, when you look at everything all together, it's so much easier to pinpoint that root cause. So, the functional tests, they're just a wealth of information. So the
Yeah.
GI map test, it really looks at your colon health, if you've got gluten sensitivities, if you've got what kind of dysbiosis you've got, your inflammatory markers, leaky gut. I mean, just so much
Yeah.
information that in like the Western medicine, they don't really offer those sort of testing options. So it's much harder to kind of get to root cause. I do an extensive health history. So really looking at how did you eat as a child? What was your stress levels? You know, like really looking at the whole person, getting the whole picture. It takes a long time, but it's so fun to really figure
Yeah.
out like, okay, this is what's going on. Let's get a system in place. And it's not magical. You know,
Yeah.
it takes time, which is really hard because in our day and age, everything is like, hey, take this shot and lose 20 pounds, you know?
Yeah. It's such an art and science, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it just takes a process for our bodies to actually heal from the inside out. So you just have to be really patient and know that, okay, our bodies are really trying to change and heal and
Yeah.
get better. And then it's so fun to see permanent life-changing, you know, health
Yeah.
going forward. So it's really fun.
Yeah, I love that. I wonder what are some of the things that you encounter that maybe culturally are kind of like normalized symptoms, right? That
Mhm.
actually aren't normal,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
talked about hormone stuff. So I mean, I would think that would probably be one that we just kind
Mhm.
of accept as women oftentimes. But what are some of those normalized things?
Yeah. You know, honestly, weight gain, people are like, oh, it's just
Yeah.
normal to gain weight. But that is a red flag. For
Yeah.
when our bodies are processing nutrients efficiently and normally, like our body wants homeostasis. That's how God's designed our bodies to function, is
Yeah.
with everything should work in process. And so when you start gaining weight, that's actually a red flag that our body is under stress, that it's not working well. And that's the point when you say, okay, wait, what's going
Yeah.
on? What's not working properly? And I think people just are so quick to dismiss that as saying, well, everybody just gains weight. It's not a problem. But that's actually stress on our system.
Yeah.
So that, you know, but it can be flip side, you know, if women are unable to gain weight, that's another red flag.
Mhm.
So looking at all those little things, like if you can't sleep, that's a red
Yeah.
flag. You know, like our bodies should do all these processes and want to do these processes naturally. And a lot of times we just start saying, oh, well, I'm too stressed. I'm too stressed. But
Yeah.
those are the points that we really should say, wait, we got to stop and fix this, because it's so much easier to fix it when you notice it right away than wait
Mhm.
10, 15, 20 years down the road when our body is so tired and fatigued and
Yeah.
not functioning properly.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Well, we've mentioned it, but I would love to talk about gut health. How does our gut
Yeah.
health impact so much of our life, our mood, our energy levels, even our anxiety?
Yeah.
I think we know that, but maybe like why and how, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's so good. It's interesting. We lived in Asia for a while, and gut health over there is so key and critical. And when we first moved there, I thought, oh, this is kind of goofy. Like they won't let women have ice cream or cold foods when they're pregnant. And I thought this is interesting. But then as I've really dove into health, gut health, it really is like the key to all of our health. And it makes sense because it's where our body digests nutrition. It's how everything's absorbed. It's how our body detoxes and gets rid of all the extra stuff that it's harmful for our system. So little things like chronic constipation, that's a big deal. Nobody wants to talk about that. But women should be going to the bathroom every day, and that should be normal. But a lot of times when we have colon health issues that you don't even necessarily see if you get a colonoscopy, but these are things like having good bacteria levels and bad bacteria levels that are not where they're supposed to be. That's going to be causing a lot of issues. And there's a gut brain connection that really causes anxiety for people if their gut health is messed up.
Yeah.
It messes up the ability for the GABA receptors to work properly. So really when people come to me and they have like severe anxiety, not only are we going to look at adrenal function, but we're going to be looking at the gut health. Because if you can imagine having bad bacteria level overgrowth in your colon, and that's going to be sending off so many signals to our body that is just stressing out our system and causing that severe anxiety. So that's definitely something that we work on from.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's so important. And I'm wondering for somebody listening, and back at the beginning of the conversation, we mentioned just experiences we've had with different doctors and how at times, maybe they felt unheard or dismissed by different things. If a woman's feeling that way, listening, what does it look like to advocate for yourself in a traditional healthcare system when maybe you walk away from an appointment feeling dismissed or unheard? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think a lot of women are stuck in that situation, honestly. First of all, I think you need to be doing a lot of research on your own to come in prepared and say, these are my symptoms. Can we please look at this, this, and this? And kind of come in ready with good questions to ask. A lot of the doctors, it's not like they don't want to help people.
Right.
I think, they went into becoming physicians because they really care and they love people. I think their training is just way different than a functional preventative healthcare system. With Western medicine, it's amazing for emergency, trauma, acute care, surgeries. I mean, it's really, really valuable, but I don't think that the preventative side is really where it should be. A lot of times they just keep watching things until it gets bad enough that they need to start taking insulin, or there's not a lot of like lifestyle change or diet change, or even if they give that, it's pretty box, not very specific. But it's not because they don't care. So I just think if women can start doing some research, there's a lot of stuff out there to try and find some answers, but it's frustrating, that you have to do all that extra work. So I mean, keep advocating, keep fighting for themselves to try and get the help they need.
Yeah. I love that. I wish we lived in a world that was different, but we can come armed with information and educate ourselves along the way too. And as we kind of figure it out, I love that. Well, I would love for you to walk us through, what does it look like to work with Live Oak, and what can, a potential client kind of look to expect from those experiences? Like, walk us kind of through your process for people listening who think like, man, I need her in my life today.
Yeah. So my approach is definitely personal. So we start with a discovery call. I hear your story. I make recommendations on what package might be best for your specific situations. And then once we start working together, we're going to really dive deep into looking at, like I said, your health history, really take a lot of time going through the intake form. And then after that, I order labs, whatever labs are appropriate. And then I'm in constant contact with my clients. So messaging me, because it can be scary and there's lots of questions and what do I do with this? And what do I do with this? And so I love being that support. It can be really like stressful and high anxiety. So my goal is to really try and help women and men find calm and peace, kind of going through the process of working through the different protocols and packages. And, like when we start getting labs back, and I write up a wellness plan and helping them do step by step to kind of break it down and make it manageable. Because that can be the most overwhelming time is, okay, so you say I have all these things. Now, what do I do?
What do I do with it?
Because it can be overwhelming. So my goal is to really take it step by step and know that all those tiny little changes are really going to pay off in the end. You don't want to just change everything at once. So we got to just pick the most important things to change, and we want to make the lifestyle manageable. So it's not going to be profitable in the end if, what we're doing isn't going to be sustainable. So a lot of times we're like, this is your situation in life. What are the things that are most important that are changeable to make your health better? So really it's a very personalized form of healthcare, I guess. And stepping back and kind of looking at things. So we get all the labs back one at a time, meet with people every month, and then messaging throughout that month, answering questions. And then depending on which package you pick or whatever, we'll recheck labs and make sure everything is back to where it should be. We look at optimal lab ranges, which is a lot different than Western medicine. So they're like, hey, on this page, everything looks good. I'm like, well, that's not optimal. That's not where our bodies really should be. So that's another big key that's different. So
I love that. That's awesome. I love that approach. Well, I know that there have to be women listening who are thinking, I'm there today. I feel overwhelmed by my health. And what do I do next? So what might be kind of a simple step that you would give her that she can take away from this conversation and start doing today?
Yes. The biggest thing that I would say to start doing is probably focus on nutrition. Really look at what meals can I prepare that are whole foods, that don't have tons of sugar, that give me nutrients. Like our bodies are starving for nutrients. We need to be eating real food. So 3 meals a day, that would be, I think, the best place to start is kind of going back to how am I feeding my body to make it so it has the energy and health that it needs. So that would be probably the biggest thing that I would have the women focus on.
Back to the basics,
Exactly.
It's nothing really exciting. It's not a shot. It's not a pill. It's getting some sleep, drinking some water, and eating well for your body. I love that. Well, as you know, we have kind of the theme of radiance over here. The name of the show is Radical Radiance. It goes back to a verse in Psalm 34, verse 5. It says, those who look to him are radiant and their faces are never covered in shame. And so the question I love asking all of our guests that come on the show is, what about Jesus makes you radiant?
I would say that it's his peace. Christ's peace is always there. He gives perfect peace in all situations. He is constant and never changes. So that is, where we can put our hope. So
Amen. I love that. Well, I would love for you to share with everybody again, where can they connect with you? Where can they learn more information about Live Oak as we close out the conversation?
You can contact me at liveoakintegrativehealth.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and would love to connect with you.
Awesome. Well, this has been really fun, Rebecca. I have loved getting to know you, and getting to know you from afar, but it's fun to actually get to have a conversation and talk about all the awesome work that you're doing. So I'm grateful that you would be my guest today.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be a guest, and I really have enjoyed this conversation.
Me too. Well, I hope you loved that conversation with Rebecca Belch over at Live Oak Integrative Health as much as I did. Go on over to liveoakintegrativehealth.com/radiance to learn more about Live Oak. And we will be back next week for another incredible conversation. And I can't wait to talk to you then. Thanks for listening to the Radical Radiance Podcast.